Hello, welcome to video 2P, parallel, perpendicular, or neither. This is Mr. Miller. When we have two lines, either they are parallel, they don't intersect, they're perpendicular, they intersect at a right angle, or they're neither, which means they intersect at a different angle. Okay, we're going to decide how to tell if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So first, two facts about slope. The first fact is that parallel lines have equal slopes. We have two parallel lines here. And if we make a slope triangle for them, I'm going to use this point and that point. We're going to find the slope here. So I go over 3 and up 2. So the run was 3 and the rise was 2. The slope of this line is 2/3. The second line is parallel to it, and if I find its slope by using a slope triangle, I'm going to find that it's the same thing. So the run is 3 again, the rise is 2, the slope of this one is 2/3. So parallel lines have equal slopes. The one that's a little bit confusing are perpendicular lines. They have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. Okay, so this line is very similar to one of the previous ones. It has slope 2/3. Okay, but this one, which makes a right angle to it, we're going to find it has an opposite reciprocal slope. So if I find the slope here, it goes down 3 and then over 2. So down 3 over 2, its slope is -3/2. So the first one was 2/3. The second one was -3/2. It's an example of opposite reciprocals. The first fraction is positive. The second fraction is negative. The first fraction has 2 in the numerator and 3 in the denominator, and they're switched in the second one. So they're opposites and they're reciprocals. Okay, that's the case when lines are perpendicular. Now if slopes are neither equal nor opposite reciprocals, then the lines are not parallel or perpendicular. We want to practice finding the opposite reciprocal of some fractions. So in part A, we have 3/4. The opposite reciprocal, well, is going to be negative, because this was positive. So the opposite would be negative, and the reciprocal would be 4/3. For B, 7/3. Well, it's positive, so the opposite reciprocal is going to be negative, and we got to switch the 3 and the 7. That'd be -3/7. Okay, this one's negative, so the opposite reciprocal is going to be positive, and the reciprocal of 1/2 is just 2/1, which is the same as 2. All right, -5/2 is going to become 2/5, a positive 2/5. When it's not a fraction, we got to think of it as a fraction. So 6/1, the opposite reciprocal would be -1/6. We got to think of -2 as a fraction also. -2/1, the opposite reciprocal would be positive 1/2. All right, so we have parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So we're given two equations, and we got to decide, are these lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Well, we tell it by looking at the slopes. So the slope here is 2, and the slope of this one is 2. Since the slopes are equal, we know that those lines are parallel. This one, 3/4 and -4/3, they're opposite reciprocals. So this one's positive, this one's negative. That's 3/4, that's 4/3. So those are perpendicular. All right, we have 3 and 1/3. At first you might think that they're perpendicular, but they're not. These are reciprocals, but they're not opposite reciprocals. They're both positive. So this is the case of neither. The slopes are not equal. They're not opposite reciprocals. Okay, -5/2 and 5/2. Well, they're opposites, but they're not reciprocals. So this is another case of neither. Okay, and then the last one. the slope of this one is 1/4. The slope of this one is -4. Those are opposite reciprocals. This one's positive, that one's negative. 1/4 and 4 are reciprocals. These are perpendicular. Alright, let's take a look at this. Alright, so sometimes we're given just 2 points on the line. So we can still determine if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. We just got to find the slope. So we have a line AB that passes through these 2 points, 10,7 and 18,11. So we can find the slope between A and B using the slope formula. So we do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 11 minus 7 over 18 minus 10 is 4 over 8, which is 1/2. So line AB has slope 1/2. Okay, let's see about line CD. So we do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That would equal -4. -6 minus the -4 is same as -6 plus 4. It would be -2, which is 2. Okay, now that we have the slopes of the 2 lines, we can make our decision. They're reciprocals, but they're not opposite reciprocals. So this one is neither. They're not equal, so they're not parallel. They're not opposite reciprocals, so they're not perpendicular. They're neither. All right, we got 3 examples like this. This is the second one. So here we have AB and CD again, and we just got to find the slopes. So the slope between A and B would be 20 minus 11 divided by 10 minus a -2, which is the same as +2. So that'd be 9 over 12. And we have to get in the habit of reducing slope, especially if we're comparing them to see if they're equal or opposite reciprocals. So that's 3/4. Okay, on this side, slope between C and D would be 23 minus 17 over 22 minus 14, which is 6 over 8, which is 3/4. Ah, we have a match. The slopes are equal. So these 2 lines are parallel. Okay, so we can just tell by the slopes. All right, we've arrived at our last example. So same problem, we're given 2 points from each line, and we're going to determine what they are. So over here, M equals 8 minus 5 over 19 minus 17, which would be, see, that's minus 3/2. Okay, on this one, the slope would be 21 minus 9 over 12 minus 4. 21 minus 9 is 12 over 8, and 12 divided by 8, that's the same as 3/2. We have another parallel one. So these are parallel. Okay, because the slopes are equal. Alright, so equal slopes means parallel lines, opposite reciprocal means perpendicular. Okay, well, it's time for the journal assignment already. So for problem number 1, you're going to find the opposite reciprocal of the following functions. So remember, it's 2 things. You got to take the opposite of the fraction, and you have to switch the numerator and the denominator. Number 2, you got to look at the slopes of the equations to determine if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Then problem 3 is like the 3 examples we just did. You got to find the slope of line AB. You got to find the slope of line CD and determine if they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither. All right, thanks for watching the video. Good luck.